my grandfather and father metal detected when I was a kid. So that's where I gained my first interest. So I didn't buy a metal detector till I was 18 or 19, 1996. And so I've been metal detecting ever since then. But when I lost my vision, I couldn't see the screen of the metal detector anymore. So I got discouraged and I quit metal detecting for a while. But I really loved it, because it was a great hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So then I decided I'm going to figure out a way to do this. There's got to be a way for me to keep doing this. So I found a metal detector I could use where I didn't need to see it. I could just memorize the buttons by feel, like tactile buttons. And I'm just able to do it that way. So as far as when I go out metal detecting to like a park, I'll get my wife to give me a layout of the park, like maybe if there's trees, hills, ditches, benches, or whatever. And then I'll just go and do that all on my own. She doesn't have to be there with me. I just figure it all out on my own. And actually today, I was metal detecting in a water. So my wife dropped me off at like a local creek, and I just walked around in the creek and metal detected there today.
All right. So, silly question. So, what's the point in metal detecting?
Because you just never know you're going to find coins or jewelry or old horseshoes, or you just never know what you're going to find.
I see. Okay. Well, let's go back in the history. What was the most unusual item that you found? What do you think?
Oh, never really found anything unusual. I did find a safety pin one time that was humongous, and here it turned out to be for laundry bags. They used humongous safety pins to close the laundry bags. I guess that's probably the most unusual thing I found, I guess.
That's interesting. And how did you, right? And so now was that buried just in the mud somehow, or?
That was actually in my parents' yard.
Ah,
So so how it ended up there, we have no idea.
well, did they used to use a big clip like that or a big pin like that?
No, I don't. I'm not sure why it was there. If it was a old trash dump or something, or just never know. We never figured out why it was there.
Hmm. That is interesting. Yeah, people find all sorts of strange things
I do.
while metal detecting. But then, so then you find it, and then do you like keep it or like take it home and like wash it? Like, what do you do?
Uh, Pretty much when I find coins, I I kind of know what they are if it's a penny, dime, quarter, nickel, because of the
Mm-hmm.
size and everything.
Right.
But I can't really tell the age of it until I get somebody to look at it. Sometimes I
Hmm.
can tell, like I don't know if you would know what a wheat penny is.
I would not. What is that?
It's they made these pennies from 1909 to 1958, and they said 1 cent on the back of it, real big.
That's cool.
So normally I can tell by rubbing my thumbnail on it if it's an old wheat penny or if it's an like a more modern memorial penny. It has a memorial on the back of the penny,
Mm-hmm.
so I can kind of tell that way. But usually, if it's like an older, like they quit making silver coins in 1964,
Right.
I I normally can't tell if it's silver. Like sometimes it may feel smoother than most coins, but I don't really know what they are until somebody else looks at it for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, coin collecting is a major hobby for a lot of people. They find all of the coins of the entire country. My brother has a coin map. At one
Oh,
point, he had a map where
yeah.
it's like a map with little holes, and you have to find all of the coins. Hmm.
And I also find, relics, old axe heads or horseshoes. I found some military items. I found a sterling silver Bombardiers pin from World War II.
Really? Okay, there you
Yep,
go.
yep.
See, those are the things that really would really get interesting. Something a memento from the war, an object or an artifact from the war. That would be really interesting for sure.
And
Yes.
I found an eagle button that
Hmm.
was, so it was from probably the Civil War, but they used these eagle buttons from 1855 to 1875. So
Mm-hmm.
that was a pretty neat button I found.
Right.
I found a Medal of Honor, or Medal of Valor, I think is what it was. So that was also from the military,
Hmm. Wow.
and a couple just U.S. pins that they must have wore on their uniforms, military uniforms.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really, really, really fascinating stuff. I'm fascinated by, well, history. History is my favorite topic. So I can easily talk about history for sure. Hmm.
And the oldest coin ever found was from 1773. It was
Wow.
a yeah, it was a Spanish real.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you do with it?
Oh, I saved it. I don't get rid of anything. I don't sell
Oh,
or
good.
yeah, I don't
That's
get rid of
good.
anything I find.
That's really good. Well, I would certainly put that in a box and definitely keep that. A
Yeah.
coin from the 17. Yeah, that's really amazing. To find old people. I mean, people have supposedly even found coins from the Roman Empire and all sorts of. I mean, it's really bizarre, but there are some super old coins.
Yeah, in Europe there's they got a lot of history over there, so they find a lot of old coins over there.
Yeah, yeah. Have you traveled outside the states before?
No, no, I've never been I've never been like past Ohio. So
I understand.
little bit of the East Coast, that's about it.
Right, right. Up and down the East Coast.
Yep.
Hmm. I see. Well, that is fine. Yeah. I mean, I think the one thing that I've noticed about Europe is that parts it kind of depends on where you are in Europe, but it's really easy to like get around, for blind people. They've really invested in Europe into having easy to use public transportation and things like that.
Oh,
Hmm.
I didn't know that.
They do.
Oh,
So it's very easy. For the most part, it's easy to get around in Europe, I think. Easier in a sense than the States where you have to have someone drive you wherever you want to go. So,
yeah.
yeah. And then of course, we have Uber, but there's always those challenges that come with Uber. Have you used Uber much?
No, I've never used any public transportation on my own.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm trying to get out of the bubble. I rely on my wife a lot, so I'm trying to get out of that.
Well, that's fine. It's wonderful that you have someone who's supportive like that. So,
Yeah.
hmm, great. Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's funny. For me, I'm single, right? And I'm a teacher online. So occasionally students ask me, are you married? And I say, no, I'm single. And they they say good. They say it's good.
Oh,
They say it's good to be single. So, interesting. Well, great. So what are some other YouTube videos and YouTube things that you have put together?
uh, I've tried to catch footballs. I've gone to the batting cages and try to hit baseballs. I just talk about my loss of eyesight, and I do tutorials on how to use the iPhone and how to use certain apps to help, like Blind Square or Seeing AI.
Hmm. Okay, so why don't we talk about those in more detail here? So, what can you tell us about Blind Square? That one I don't use.
Well, that is a like a GPS navigation app for the blind.
Mm-hmm.
And as you're walking, it will give you like markers, like what street you're on, if you're coming up to a corner, what businesses you're coming up to. Uh, you can turn your phone around and it'll kind of tell you what direction it's pointing in, and it'll tell you what's in that direction. And you can actually adjust the distance. So if you want it to tell you what's a mile ahead, a mile to you, it'll tell you what business is or churches or whatever's around you. But you can shorten the distance if you want. I think the shortest distance is 500 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty helpful app if you're trying to get around.
Right, right. And good. So what has been the longest distance you've ever walked or traveled using that app?
Not very far. Unfortunately, I got to know it, and my wife took me into a town, and we walked around a little bit with it. But that's my next challenge, to go in a town, do some crossing walks, go through some stoplights. So that's going to be my next challenge, to move around in the city on my own with nobody with me.
Right, right. And so what is the major city near you in general?
Well, there really is no major cities near me. I guess Pittsburgh, and that's not really close to me. So
I see. So, right. Mhm.
most of the
Yes.
cities they're smaller, a couple thousand people, which I guess isn't really a city, but
Yeah, I don't know what constitutes city. I think it's a certain number of people. But
yeah,
um, in my case, I live in some small town, probably similar to you, and basically, I have to depend on my parents for transportation. If I go out at all, which is, given the current situation, pretty rare. Ever since this whole, health situation, we've been staying in
yeah.
a lot more. So,
And
but
it is with the COVID-19, it is hard for the blind community because we have to feel a lot of things,
right.
so and I don't know if people realize that, but we see with our fingers.
Well, basically, and
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I did want to talk about, because in these groups, there's been a lot of, I mean, I haven't seen you post in the group recently, but in a very general sense, there has been a lot of different frustrations that have been expressed in these groups amongst the blind community, as it directly relates to how much frustration there is, um, about dealing with this whole situation. And the other the other thing that blind people are saying a lot more is they feel so lonely, and all of that. So, I have a job, and I'm working the whole day on activities, so I don't feel lonely. I talk to the whole world, with people all over the world, so it's impossible for me to feel lonely. But I just wanted to ask you, have you noticed this, that a lot of blind people around our groups have been sort of kind of down in the dumps about this whole situation? Why don't we talk about that for another minute and a half, and then we'll go to break?
Okay.
What do you? Yeah.
It, it is a tough situation. It's like one of them things, you got to ride out the storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, a lot of people are staying home right now. It's just important to stay safe, and to keep from spreading COVID. I mean, that's the important thing right now.
Right.
I mean, unfortunately for the blind community, uh, it is kind of hard right now, especially getting out. And I don't know what the public transportation situation is right now. I don't know if they shut down public transportation or not.
I mean, I think in the cities, I think they are still trying to run some public transportation, probably less of it, but I think they're still doing that. Yes.
And I know there's something called Uber Eats now, where if
Mm-hmm.
you order food somewhere, they'll bring it to your house.
E- exactly. They
Yeah,
do.
so
His name is Shane. My name is Aaron Richmond. This is Aaron's opinion, right here on Caroline Radio and Blind Advocate Radio. as we like to say, we'll be right